Good evening, everyone. Tonight, we're reading a section from Harry Potter and the Order of the Redneck by Ruby Faust, Will and Zeke. Chapter 1. Ezekiel Sorencrow and William Crimson Neck weren't your average students at Hogwarts. You see, they were American wizards. There are some distinct differences between American wizards and British wizards, one of which being that in place of wands, American wizards carry magical buck knives. Another difference being that many would argue that they lack the refinement of their British counterparts, although the biggest difference between British and American wizards, without doubt, was that American wizards were known for their brazen nature and indomitable spirit. Ezekiel, known as Zeke, and William, commonly referred to as Squirrel or Will, were not only American wizards, they were American redneck wizards, who through some unlikely circumstances had found themselves accepted into Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry at 7 years. Though they were both in their 20s, they've been held back a few times. Neither Zeke nor Squirrel sat with the other students in the grand hall instead. Well, they sat near the back in long chairs, tormenting Neville Longbottom by using the Osseo spell on every piece of food he picked up before he had a chance to eat it. This year, we'll have 2 new students joining us as 7th years. Please, let us welcome Ezekiel Sorencrow and William Crimson Neck, announced Dumbledore. The grand hall was filled with applause and chatter as Dumbledore continued to make announcements. Now that our new first years have been assigned to their houses, I would like to invite our 2 new 7th years up to try on the sorting hat to determine the houses as well, again announced Dumbledore. Nah, it's cool, dude. We brought our own house. Thanks for offering, replied Squirrel, in a half-drunken stupor as he stood up picking his belly button, motioning to a double-wide trailer outside. As he continued to torment a very frustrated Neville Longbottom. You can't simply come to Hogwarts and ignore our principles, exclaimed Draco Malfoy. Hey, fuck you, alright? Retorted Zeke cockily. Malfoy sat down, not entirely sure how to respond. As Dumbledore cleared his throat and simply choosing to ignore the problem, he went on with his announcements as Snape and McGonagall glowered at the new students who had returned to their lawn chairs and beer. After dinner and the announcements had been made, Squirrel and Zeke staggered out into the hall to be greeted by a woman dressed in all pink who seemed to be a little bit upset about, nothing they could really figure out. Gentlemen, my name is Dolores Jane Umbridge. I am a representative of the Ministry of Magic, and thus a representative of the Minister of Magic himself. And I would like a word with you two about your unruly behavior this evening, stated a rather annoyed Umbridge. Do huh? Responded both inebriated wizards in unison, having no comprehension of what this woman was talking about. Umbridge exhaled slowly, looking back at the 2 American wizards, trying her best to give off the impression that she was completely calm and collected, though just below the surface she was fuming with rage. Gentlemen, this is a school, and like any school, it has rules that I feel I need not say must be followed, stated Umbridge, adding a tone of superiority to her voice. Now look here, Miss DeLorean. I ain't really into that dominatrix stuff, but if you're looking to play with my magic wand, you can come on back to the double wide, responded Squirrel, gleefully as he took another swallow of beer. Umbridge stormed off furiously as Zeke and Squirrel staggered off in the direction of her trailer. Walking back to the double wide, the duo stopped a moment to look at the Whimpin' Willow. The Whompin' Willow. The 2 sat in contemplative silence, taking in the majesty of this beautiful tree and all the history it must have seen over the years for about .0002 seconds before Zeke calmly asked, Deer stand? And after a moment, Squirrel nodded and replied, Deer stand. As the 2 stood planning how to erect a deer stand in the tree, they were joined by a large bearded man. Hello, you 2, said the bearded stranger pleasantly. Sup, responded Zeke with a howdy from Squirrel. I see you've taken an interest in the Whompin' Willow. That there's a mean tree, that is. My name is Hagrid, by the way, stated the large bearded man. How's the tree gonna be mean? Asked Zeke, turning around to get a good look at the newcomer for the first time. Well, you see, that there ain't no ordinary tree. It has a sort of mean nature and attacks anything what comes too near to it, answered Hagrid. Hold up. So it's a tree that kills shit? Inquired Squirrel enthusiastically. Well, I suppose you could say that, yeah, replied Hagrid, a bit perplexed by the 2 strange wizards in front of him. Hell, I can dig it, commented Zeke as the 2 turned back to further examine the tree. Hey, real quick, look here, man. They don't call me Squirrel for shits and giggles. Well, actually, they call me Squirrel because I work for a place sucking water out of damn flooded houses, and I cut a drain hole in this ceiling, this one ceiling here, and a squirrel nest fell on my head and had poop in it, you know? Shit. Literally. I was gonna go by poop to be funny, but they said that'd be unprofessional or something. I don't know, but look here, man. Trees? Trees are my nature. You big, scraggly bitch. And I want to sit in that tree and shoot at deer. And if that tree likes killing shit, then I don't much reckon it'll have a problem with me adding to the distance and what have ye that it can reach. Blasted off suddenly angry squirrel. Well, I think I'm going to be home. Headed home, that is. And I'd suggest you two do the same, stated Hagrid as he began walking away, not sure what he understood a word that the little American wizard had said. Dude, that guy must have been like a wizard or something, because he knew we were out of beer and that we needed to go home and get some more from the fridge. Don't be dumb. There ain't no such thing as wizards, retorted Squirrel as the two walked drunkenly back to the double-wide. Draco Malfoy awoke to what sounded like paws scurrying away and a foul smell, but the young wizard quickly shrugged it off and rolled back over to get some sleep. However, when he rolled over, he found his face was in something short and soft and warm, and the foul odor he had smelled earlier had greatly intensified. After a moment, he realized that he rolled over into feces. And as Zeke and Zeus cracked open the first beer of the morning, a puppy sauntered and sat at the feet. The screams of Draco Malfoy could now be heard across the grounds of Hogwarts. The two rednecks took a sip of beer before congratulating the dog on a job well done. The dog's name was Lily. She was a box of pit mix and was approximately 6 months old. After a light breakfast of a 6-pack of Budweiser each and a couple half-eaten donuts they had found on the folds of the couch, Squirrel and Zeke were ready to begin their day. "Hey, Squirrel, where is that there yonder potions class at?" asked Zeke as he tried to read the map of the castle. "I don't know, but it must be more drunk than I thought, 'cause I could swear them stairs is moving," stated Squirrel as he pulled over a Corona from one of the 18 packs that they were carrying. Sometime later, the two managed to find their way to the potions classroom. "You two are late," stated Snape flatly. "Is this potions?" asked Squirrel as he picked his belly button and looked around the room. "It is," responded Snape in an irritated tone. "All right. Well, hell, who the hell are you?" asked Zeke as he crushed a beer can and threw it in the corner of the room. "You may call me Professor Snape, and if you two don't have any more stupid questions, you may take your seats," said Snape as he turned and walked back to the front of the classroom. "Hell yeah! Osseo lawn chair!" exclaimed Squirrel and Zeke simultaneously as they brandished their knives. The two sat back, flicking the caps from beer bottles as they finished them, at the other students who turned angrily only to see the two young men sitting innocently, though occasionally when a young lady would look back at Squirrel, he would attempt to proposition her for less than moral things. "You two imbeciles, pay attention!" yelled an angry Snape. "Hey, man, I'm paying attention. Look at this chick's ass, Tate. Look at it!" Squirrel shouted back, pointing at Hermione Granger. "I will not tolerate this behavior in my classroom." "You gotta admit, it's a nice ass," interjected Zeke. Everyone cowered a little as Squirrel abruptly stood up and pulled out his knife. "Osseo, ass!" he shouted. Hermione Granger screamed as the chair flew backwards, yanking her with it for a couple of feet. "You know, you probably could have went and slapped her ass," said Zeke as they sipped beer, walking down to the castle lawn. "Hellfire, I don't summon booty unless I'm either gonna slap it or worse." They both laughed. "Alright, I reckon that's..." "Wait, hold the fuck up, what is that?" Squirrel looked as his best beer goggles would let him in the direction that Zeke was pointing. "Aw, hell, that's one of them horse things that crazy girls play with all the time. You can't see them unless you witness someone die." "Who'd you see die?" Squirrel answered. "My cousin, John. Autoexotical asphyxiation, the doctor people called it. I was watching him because I was going to see how long it took for the ceiling fan to break." "What about you?" "Brother Jimmy. We're sort of due, really. Crazy as hell. He met his maker in the great racing mower crash in '97. Insisted on an open casket funeral, too. Crazy as hell, but goddamn respectable." The two made their way over to the Trailsters and the Threstles, and 5 minutes later, Hagrid appeared out of his window at the sounds of the yelling, horses, and a generally loud commotion. His eyes were greeted by the sight of Zeke riding on a bucking and clearly upset Threstle, while Squirrel stood below laughing and drinking his ever-present beer.